is blowing, the temperature is rising. I can see it in your eyes. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. I can see it in your eyes. La 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 la.
And said, Kim, I see you on the scene. Are you interested in coming for an audition for MTV Base?
Because we're talking about Africa and we're talking about empowering Africa.
Yes.
This is powered by Republic Africa. Africa in recent years is taking over.
She's a survivor of sexual abuse her entire childhood.
How does Africa learn to collaborate with its own?
Yeah.
Because talking about it is what we've done
it's
for
so
ages.
easy to say.
But how do we step?
For sure.
If you know what you're searching for, I can see it in your eyes. La 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 la.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to VooVix TV, powered by Republic Africa. And today we have a special edition on this show. We have a special guest, and this guest, I'm not going to tell you what country she comes from. That will keep you watching and keep you guessing as well. It's Kim Jayde in the building. Kim Jayde, how you doing?
Yes,
How you doing? You good?
I'm so good.
Nice to meet you,
Thank you
Kim.
for having
Nice to meet
me.
you, Kim. And now, Kim, look, let's go all the way back to the very start.
Sure.
Right?
Okay, let's go.
When you was growing up, right, what did you actually want to do? You could have been a lawyer, doctor. What is it you actually wanted to do when you were growing up?
I think it would be less stressful for my parents if I was a lawyer or a doctor.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to be a psychologist.
Wow.
So helping people, I've always had a heart for giving back and volunteering. From 14, we were working at old age homes and orphanages, and that's actually how we adopted my brother. And studying social work is ultimately what I came to South Africa to do. So I got my honors degree in social work and psychology.
Do you know what I like? What you just did there? You kept an element of mystery. You said that's what you came to South Africa. We don't know where you're from. You could have come from China, Cameroon, Nigeria. We don't know. So the little birdie told me that you're from the land of one of my favorite presidents, President Mugabe. I don't care what you guys say in the comments, right? And Mugabe was hardcore.
I don't care.
I don't care. Right? Now Mugabe was a hardcore person. Now, Zimbabwe itself, right? It's a phenomenal country. I've never been there myself. My mom's been, right? And she was there in the era. This is way before you. She was in the era where there was a president called Banana.
Oh, wow.
You didn't even know that, right?
No.
Well, he had a name that was linked to a banana.
Okay.
Well, research it, guys. If I'm lying, right? My mom lied to me, but I know my mom doesn't lie.
Banana,
Now, you're from Zimbabwe.
Yes.
How was it like growing up in Zimbabwe?
Honestly, I think Zimbabwe is one of the most underrated countries in Africa to visit. It's absolutely beautiful. It's really safe. The people are super friendly. We have Victoria Falls.
Oh, yeah.
We have Wange National Park. It's just, it's a beautiful country. The people are kind and welcoming and friendly and hardworking.
Definitely. That's why you came to South Africa and said, no more Zimbabwe. I'm staying here.
There's opportunity here. I came for opportunity.
Yeah. And look, you have achieved so much here, right? So tell us a little bit about, if for the people that, say someone's watching in the UK, in the US, and they're discovering Kim for the first time.
Sure.
And Kim is a big deal here. Don't let me not play it down, right? Kim is actually a big deal here. So for people that don't know, if they say describe your journey towards success, what would you say?
Wow. Well, so I came to South Africa from Zimbabwe to get my honors degree in social work and psychology. And while I was here, I was scouted by a modeling agency.
Right.
To the shock and horror of my parents. If you guys know people of color, and you tell your father you want to be a model, he's like, hey, what? It wasn't
Modeling
okay.
what?
He was like, what do you mean want to take pictures? I'm like, anyway, so I started modeling, and when I graduated with my honors degree, I pursued it full time. I said, I'll take a gap year. A gap year turned into 5. And what's so interesting was I came into the industry at the perfect time. I think everything in my career is like God ordained and aligned, because at the time, what was common was to see a lot of white, really thin girls on TV, advertising, brand campaigns, models. It was like the Kate Moss era. I came in when the Kardashians were blowing up, and more people wanted to see people that looked like them. They wanted to feel the people that were selling them products and the people on TV were relatable and real people. And like, I mean, it was right time, right place that I hit the industry, became one of the top earning models in the country, booking incredible global commercials.
Wow.
But from there, I got my first break onto TV from Spice TV, which airs in the Nigeria and the UK.
Right.
just interviewing people at Fashion Week in Cape Town, because I knew the designers, I knew the models. Easy. And I can talk. I got the gift of the gap.
No, you're telling me.
I can talk to anybody.
I think you can talk for Britain. But anyway, talking about TV, right? MTV. Right? MTV came knocking, and MTV, company that we've always loved in the past.
We grew up on it.
Yeah, I mean MTV Creeps, TRL, you know what I mean? MTV. So when MTV came knocking, how did that happen? How did you get the phone call?
I love the story.
Allow me to reintroduce that story.
I decided that I wanted to go into TV full time. So I left this incredible career.
Pause. Because the people watching right now, and they're saying, how does one decide they're going to do something? I know, right? But some people might sit down and say, well, I can't decide. I just want to be a chauffeur, or I can't decide. I just want to be a firefighter. I need to work for it. I need to. But you are talking about the law of attraction. You're talking about if you put your mind into something, you see that clock's you there, right? You're going to get into it. So you need to really spell that out.
Okay, how to spell it out? How to decide?
Because the way you drove into that, you know, somebody could be looking at that and have an accident. You need to actually
look. It's not an overnight thing that happens, right? There's a feeling in your gut when you're first on camera and doing the things that you're like, oh wow, I love this. I enjoy this. This is actually the next challenge for me. I always want to be pushed out of my comfort zone. I always want to grow and learn more. And I'm like, oh, people can make a living from this. Mind you, coming from Zimbabwe, it's not like South Africa, it's not like the UK, it's not like America that has a very developed, established entertainment industry. We don't have TV hosts that travel the world and walk red carpets and things. Like, I didn't have a role model to say, oh, this Zimbabwean person did it, I'm going to do it. Never. So literally making the decision to say, okay, and it took a period of time because all I knew was in Cape Town. My home was in Cape Town, my agency, secure, consistent income. Johannesburg is a different beast altogether. There's an established industry here. The TV presenters are people that have been in the industry forever. They were child stars on Yo TV and SABC, and then they grew into the industry. I had none of that. So it was literally leaving everything I knew and starting again. And I did that. I came here, and the talent manager at MTV, Melanie Trichat, I owe you my life. She slid into my DMs on Instagram. This is the power of social media, everybody.
Sliding. That's 100%. Sliding, right? Hashtag sliding. Listen.
That was the best slide ever. Slid into my DM and said, Kim, I see you on the scene. Are you interested in coming for an audition for MTV Base? And I said, what time? I'm there. I went, I did the audition with Mojak Lehuku, an incredible comedian and writer. And I got home and I said to my mom, yeah, I got it. She was like, you can't say that, you don't know. I said,
wait.
I said, I got it.
Pause that you need to understand what she just said. Is the fate in something that you ain't even got yet.
100%.
Continue.
She was like, you can't say that, you don't know, don't jinx it. I said, it's mine. I could there was a feeling.
Yeah, that was a feeling.
Oh, it was so right. And then a few days later they called. I remember I was at the shopping mall with her. She's like, they said, you got the job. I said, oh my word, freaked out.
Yeah, you pretended like you never knew. You were like, I already knew this.
I didn't play cool at all. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, thank you. And what's so crazy is that people assume as soon as you get onto TV, oh, you're swimming in money. Glam, like the life.
TV's not like that. I remember doing the first BBC job. It wasn't like that at all.
100%. And my first, when I was at MTV, the first 6 months, they're kind of testing you out to see if you're good at what you do.
Yes.
I earned 4,000 Rand a month, which was like $200 a month. No glam, no styling, none of that.
You didn't have glam?
Nothing.
How did you survive?
You had to do it yourself.
You did it yourself?
I'm really good at glam, so thankfully, like, she learned some things in the modeling industry. You see how it all connects?
It connects, it comes together.
Yeah. I became the face of MTV Base, started producing my own shows, then became the first face of MTV Africa. Okay, cool.
Kim,
I'll
you're
slow
taking
down.
the piss. I don't want to speak French. Excuse my French.
Don't swear.
But that's why I said excuse my
watching.
French. I did say excuse my French there. Kim is going way too much into Fashion Week territory, right? How did you do it? Right? So you're going into MTV now.
Yes.
You got your first opportunity. Melanie is giving you your first opportunity.
Yes.
You get in there.
The big
How
break.
do you come from presenting and then boom, producer?
Okay, so
because that's why you're controlling the whole crew here.
They don't know that. The audience doesn't know.
Well,
Okay.
how did you? Because you have to be somewhere to see yourself in the other situation. Because like climbing the ladder, some people stay in the same position forever.
100%.
What do you do to then say to yourself, "Hey, I'm doing so well here, but I could do better?
What differentiated myself from a lot of the talent was I took the initiative to go the extra mile. So number one, I went to the vice president and I was like, I'm new on air, I'm new to this TV thing, and I want to get better. And what he would do was make me come in early before the office even opened. He would watch my tape back from the previous day, because it's a daily news show. And he would tell me how bad I was. He was like, this is terrible, this is hideous,
and now pause.
Stop doing that.
I know the answer to this, by the way, and this is so important. How do you take the criticism?
Oh, I took it like a champ. I said, thank you. Thank you.
Because that's what I'm talking about.
What? It was, first of all, an honor and a privilege to get that one-on-one time with the vice president of Viacom, now Paramount. Gigantic. Dylan Khan had worked at MTV UK. He knew all the greats. I was so thankful to be in that room and get that critique to get better. Because that's the only way you learn. There's no ego. It's like, thank you for the criticism. I promise I'm going to work on it and I'm going to get great. And then once I started like killing it at the presenter thing, I said, look, may I sit in the status meeting? Now, for those of you that don't know, a status meeting is where every department in the company presents to the president and vice president of what they're doing that week. So the marketing department, sponsorship department, production, every single department and head of department presents what they're doing. This is where we are with sponsorship for the VMAs. This is where we are with marketing for the Strongbow event. This is what, and I sat in every meeting. Every Monday, I would shoot my link, go and sit in the meeting and learn everything about the business from the inside out. And it was, I mean, no one else did it. No one else. They came, they shot, there were celebrities and superstars and they left. I was like, no. I get to be in a global business. It would be stupid of me to not take advantage of this access. And the more I learned, the more they would actually ask my opinion. Kim, what do you think of this? Is this fire? And then when international opportunities came, who was the first top of mind? It's like, we need someone to go to LA. Send Kim. She knows how to direct and produce herself. We don't need to send her with a team. She can just find a DOP, like a videographer that side. We trust her. Cool. She can interview Charlize Theron. Right. VMAs, New York. Cool. Send Kim. Because you grow that rapport with the team and they learn to trust you and they learn you're capable and intelligent and you take initiative. And I think that's really what's gotten me where I am today.
Kim, how important it is to kill your ego before you walk through the door?
Every day. Every day. Because no one knows everything. You can consistently learn from everyone. And I think consistently being a sponge and being humble enough to know that I don't know everything and I can learn from everybody I meet. What a blessing. Amazing.
Now, you've won several awards, right? You won a style award. I think it was SA Style Award you won, and you've won several awards. One of the biggest achievements you've made, this is Republic Africa, Private Republic Africa, which is going to be one of the biggest forefronts in Africa in terms of, we're Forbes Africa 30 under 30.
Forbes Africa 30 under 30.
Tell us about that. How did that feel? I mean, I remember the first time in my career, years ago, being featured in Forbes magazine. And I was like, because you've been reading Forbes magazine and then Forbes magazine feature you, I was like, that's actually quite impressive. Now, how did it feel like Forbes giving you a call and saying, look, this is who you are?
It was crazy because I had reached several milestones. So I was the first face of MTV Africa. So continent-wide, representing the continent. I was the first Zimbabwean face of Revlon. So Bonang was the face. And then Bonang handed it down to us.
Amazing.
So being the face of Revlon as the first Zimbabwean to do that.
Amazing.
But when Forbes called, it puts you in a different league, I feel, right? Like, so there's celebrities and influencers and people making a lot of money, but Forbes is such a respected establishment.
It tells you
and
about
platform.
the business side of things.
100%. It's like their stamp saying, this person is one to watch for the future, not only for their country, but for the continent. And I've always been such a proud advocate of Africa. Like, it's amazing to travel the world and anyone can relocate, for sure, earn more money, for sure. But it's like, if you leave, it's a skills drain for our continent. How are we ever going to move forward and advance and develop as an industry, as a continent, if everyone just goes to America or to the UK? So.
That's lovely, because we're talking about Africa and we're talking about empowering Africa. This is powered by Republic Africa. Africa in recent years is taking over in the music industry. I'm sorry to say that. Sports, music, everything else. So America now and Europe and everybody is dancing to the tune of Africa.
It's about time.
What would you say? Now, you're going to be speaking at the South Africa Trade and Consumer Expo. You're going to be speaking at the panel, which is the future of business, and especially in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
What would you say Africa needs? Because sometimes we've got to speak as a whole continent.
Yes.
We don't like to be introduced as a whole continent.
Yes.
Right? Because everyone has got the identity.
Yes.
Zimbabwe,
Yes.
South Africa, South Africa.
Yes.
I saw you guys in the comment. I preempted it, guys. So everybody is their own country.
Yes.
But Europe is Europe.
Yep.
Asia is Asia.
America is a whole
America
country.
is a whole continent.
A continent that's
with
a country.
South America, North America,
Exactly.
etc. Africa as a continent is seeing a rise from South Africa to Nigeria to Ghana to Kenya to Zimbabwe to Cameroon. There's a lot of acts going internationally. You know,
massive.
Libianca having a #1 song from Cameroon.
Incredible.
Nigeria, Burna Boy, Wizkid. Here you got Tyler, you got Trevor Noah, you got Black Coffee. You know, you go to Ghana, you have all the acts from Ghana as well. So, what do you think Africa needs to do to ensure that they China the world?
I said
China the world.
Oh, I mean, shout out to them.
Yeah.
Controlling the tariffs discussion. We see you. They won't be bullied. Okay, come through China.
#never.
I am someone that fully understands, respects, and appreciates the patriotism to your tribe and to your country. There's something very beautiful about how diverse we are as African people. However, where we fall behind the East and the West is that we are not collaborating.
Yes.
We are not speaking to each other and supporting each other. America is such a powerhouse, and the same with the UK and the same with Australia, because they support each other. Right? I would even say I think Nigeria is probably leading on the continent in terms of their diaspora supporting each other and actually putting their money behind their artists, their athletes, their creatives. I feel like I wish as a continent we would stop trying to do this thing of we're better than them, we're better than.
Hello beautiful people, this is Kim Jayde and I am beyond humbled and honored to be your cover girl for Republic Africa. I think it's massive that they are celebrating so many iconic African figures and empowering and uplifting the continent as a whole. So make sure you tune into the conversation, make sure you buy the cover.
Welcome back to VooVix TV. This is Jordan Kensington, and you're still joined by myself having conversation with the one, the iconic one, Kim Jayde. Kim, before we left on the break, that little advert break that we had, which was quite exciting actually, because in an advert break, I saw your dance moves, and I gotta say, no, Kim, I gotta say, I have never seen anything like that.
I'm
before.
crying.
I don't know why you just got up and started dancing.
Dress,
this is what I'm
drama.
saying. This is what I'm saying. You were thinking of London Fashion Week, Burna Boy, all that sort of stuff. But we were actually talking before the break, and seriously, we're talking about collaboration. We're talking about Africa and the fact that collaboration is so important to make sure we kind of reach the skills that we want to reach. And I said business is very important, branding is very important, working together is very important. Because if you're not working together, you're literally, what are you doing, right? And sometimes not knowing is actually a problem.
That's true.
I saw that when we actually launched in the UMA, the Urban Music Awards. We launched that in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, in the early 2000s, and I saw the Jamaicans, right? A small little island. You have to understand what I'm talking about. Jamaica is a small island.
Yeah.
And the amount of artists that went global from that small island.
Yeah.
Sean Paul.
Oh.
Bob Marley.
Oh.
Beanie Man.
Oh.
And you know why?
Yo, I'm a big Beanie Man fan.
Trust me. Beanie Man was, he did the whole performance. He was performing and then came back again. And the thing is, what I saw from them is, they would produce a song and they'll say, everybody feature in it, we don't care, work together, let's do a song. They had this, they collaborated, right? So how does Africa learn to collaborate with its own? Because talking about it is what we've done
it's
for
so
ages.
easy to say.
But how do we step
For sure.
for Africa? Because someone's watching this right now and saying, I agree with you, Kim. What you said was
Now
true.
what?
Now what?
I completely agree.
How?
Do you know what's interesting to me is that there are so many global platforms that are here on our continent that have the ability to so easily connect the dots. I'm saying Universal Music. Universal is everywhere. Netflix has head offices and offices around the continent. YouTube does too. If they have the access to all of these incredible creators, why is there not more opportunities for us to meet? Because I'm saying, I've met you, Jordan. Oh my gosh, from now on.
No, we're family.
Listen, when I come to London, I said, let's have some tea and crumpets.
Where are you
like, darling.
Done. Yeah?
I think it's that simple. I also think we live in such a connected era where anybody can just slide into the DMs. Why not? That's how I get all of really I mean, I never said you said it. I never said it, you said it. I really think there's nothing wrong with literally just going to the DMs of someone and saying, I love you, I love your work.
Number one, right? You got, because sometimes we usually do interviews for the sake of talking. People need to learn, and on all levels as well. You got CEOs watching here. I'm a CEO myself. You got loads of CEOs watching, and CEOs who have bad behaviors. It doesn't matter how rich you are and successful you are. Sometimes you have bad behaviors because you don't know how to do what you did. Just because you've made a lot of success doesn't mean you're prepared for the next gen, right? Because you need to be consistently learning. As you say, that's the drop in your ego. So number one, sliding in the DM, and you should not be so big enough not to say, I love what you do.
I love what you do.
What are you asking us to do together if you don't like what you see?
Oh, 100%.
Mel who saw you said, I like what I see.
Yeah.
So they need to be able to, because if someone slides into my DM and says, hey Jordan, we have a convention, that's a negative convention, right? I'm not going to reply back to them. But if someone slides into my DM and say, hey Jordan, I have a positive convention, I want to slide into the DM.
Sure.
So if Kanye West slides into your DM with all this negative stuff, you're not going to reply back to him. I don't think you are.
I'm a Ye fan, but he's wilding right now. He's wilding right now.
So what I'm saying is, there's got to be a positive conversation. There's got to be something that you appreciate of people, and I think we as Africans, right? And I consider myself as a full-born and bred African. I'm not born in Africa, but I'm African.
Your soul is here.
My soul is always in Africa.
Yeah.
And I've got to say to you, we have an issue with complimenting each other.
Yeah.
So what you've just said is number one. If you're sliding into someone's DMs, what do you say?
Yeah. And also to be more professional, everyone's email is in their bio. You can really send us a professional, well-worded email and then come across even more serious. I mean, I personally take people a lot more seriously when they send me a proper mail.
Right.
It's
number two.
Good morning, so-and-so. I hope this email finds you well. Guys, we are professional business people. Even if you're an influencer, content creator, treat your brand and yourself as a business. You are a one-man business. Treat yourself as such in all of your communications.
And yourself as a business.
Yes.
So for that, a lot of artists, sometimes they get their friends to be your managers and everything else. What does that mean to you? Treating your brand as a business. What does that mean to you?
It means that how I want myself to be perceived and represented on every platform, in every room, and every conversation. I've been in the industry for going on 2 decades now.
Wow.
And most of the feedback you will get from clients, from events, promoters.
Okay, I'm trying to catch the ball. 2 decades. I'm catching the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I look young, but I'm very experienced.
Fair enough.
is that I am a incredibly hardworking, and I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So if in a room, and we are in a patriarchal society, if I walk in a room and I'm like, okay, what's happening with sound? What's going on? Which camera am I looking into?
Yeah.
It can be received in the wrong way. Like, who does she think she is? I actually know what I'm doing. I actually run my own production house.
Yeah.
I actually have been in this industry for over a decade. That comes with experience.
Yes.
I would never speak out of turn if I didn't know what I was talking about. And that's to show you how seriously I take myself, my production, every set I'm on. I expect the best of my crew because I bring 150% to every single job.
I love that.
And I think our artists and our rappers should
do the same.
Should kind of do the same.
Now, what you're saying is actually facts. And let's go back to your production company. You actually run your own production company.
Yes.
Now, you've done all of these experiences.
Yes.
And you came to a level and you said to yourself, all the experience that you've had, you actually can do better. Because when you're seeing stuff, cameras going AWOL, microphones going to the east, you're saying to yourself, we need to get some, saying it. What made you think of actually commencing your own production company?
Yes.
And what are the stuff you guys have done? And what's the production company called as well?
It's KJ Productions.
Yeah.
Registered in 2019.
Love it.
What I saw lacking in the industry at the time was a female-owned production house. I am a woman of color, and I intentionally wanted
Cheers, by the way,
to.
to that.
Oh, thank you. We're creating jobs in Africa, guys.
There you go.
I knew so many young, incredible, talented creatives that didn't think in the box. When you work for a company like a Viacom, an MTV, a BET, you get used to a set way of shooting things and doing things because it works.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, shooting commercial TV, there is a formula. But I was coming into an era where social media was taken over. This was
100%.
pre-COVID. As soon as COVID hit, I quit my job at MTV. I said I'm running my production house full time. And at the time, so many magazines and publications were closing.
Yes.
Right? Because
of COVID.
Because
Yes,
COVID,
yeah.
there was no money.
Yeah.
However, brands still had marketing budget. And they were like, if we're not doing events and we're not
What should we do?
advertising
What
in
should we
magazines,
do?
where are we putting the money? And I
Yeah.
said, sir,
I
I volunteer.
I love it. I
And
love it.
that was honestly one of my highest earning years. I made over R1 million in COVID at home.
I've told people
creating
this.
content
Yeah.
because I was just ready.
Yeah.
I was ready, and I had an amazing team that would create high-level content, high-level, super incredible quality, global standard. Because I don't compare myself to South African creators. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but if the US and the UK are far more developed than us, and they
Yes.
are by decades,
Yes.
that's where I'm comparing myself to.
You have to aim high.
100%.
You have to aim high. Now, how do you deal with, you know, you're working in a place where a lot of people are getting there,
Yeah.
right? And some of the things you're saying will be aloof to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously,
That's fair.
on my side of things, you know, I've been doing things in a very professional level for about 28 years. And then coming into Africa, you have to, no, okay, let's be honest.
We got you.
Coming to Africa,
We got you.
Keep picking those balls. Coming to Africa, you have to kind of, you have to adapt, right? But not follow. Adapt meaning you have to empathize and teach.
For sure.
Because sometimes you're meeting people where they are, right? So the standards you're used to, like the standards I'm used to,
Yeah.
I don't get.
Yeah.
Right? And what you're gonna get is not the standards you're used to. But you can bark and bark and bark. The people are not gonna get to that standard,
No.
except you teach. And
Yeah.
sometimes there's a lot of patience and love involved.
Yeah.
How do you manage that? Because your expectation is
Yeah.
here. Like
Yeah.
in your head, you know
Yeah.
exactly what you want.
For sure.
And you could be saying to somebody, and love turns to hate very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
When you're saying to somebody, look, I can see you could be so much better.
Yeah.
And if you're so much better,
Yeah.
you're going to get so much better
Yeah,
results.
for sure.
But they're listening to you like, I don't know what you're talking about.
You're asking a question that's actually global and relatable on every level, because your question is, how do you be a good leader?
That's the question then.
I must admit, when I was young and early days in my company, I wasn't a great leader. I had the ideas and I had the concepts and I had the know-how, but to be able to bring everybody up with you to get there, I wasn't as patient and I wasn't as kind and I wasn't as understanding. I was like, this is call time. Why are you not here? Why are you not communicating if your car broke down? Like, for me, these are simple, obvious things, but they are not to everyone.
Yeah.
And that's the grace you kind of learn with wisdom and with age and with traveling and also with understanding that people are not perfect. No one is you, right? I can't expect the same standard that I bring. I can accept like a 95%. I'll bring like 100. but it's 100% what you're saying, and this is something I've learned with age. It's like we do need to give people a little bit of grace. We do need to be, but I'm not saying accept whatever.
Yes.
No way.
Because grace is not accepting.
No, you can give them grace, especially if they come apologizing and genuinely understanding where they've made a mistake or where they've gone wrong. But you do need to maintain a certain caliber to be employed by me. Because people do just get let go.
100%.
If you are consistently going to be lazy, not on time, not come prepared, not ready, hungover. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just not acceptable. Because, right, we're running ourselves as serious businesses.
Yeah.
If you want to be part of a serious business, you gotta be up here with me.
Yeah.
And then we grow together. The more money I make, my G, the more money you're gonna make. We're all gonna eat.
You know what's funny about Kim? Kim, you slid into a British accent. I don't know.
Stop
have you been in London recently?
No, but we're colonized by the British. So,
so
the
you feel
English
the
in
vibes.
Zimbabwe is like very, but the slang,
And you get the
we work with it.
G there.
We work
Alright.
with it.
So now you're right. Teachable. You have to be able to teach because sometimes we take for granted the blessings that we have. You know, you're blessed with what you have to be able to see what people can't see, right? And that's what makes you different. That's the special
Fair.
quality you have.
Yeah.
And sometimes it took me a very long time to realize that, hey, you know what? All the fingers in your hands ain't the same. You know, you could be talking to people about something.
Yeah.
Whatever you're saying, it's not registering. And I used to see my mom growing up. My mom owns businesses. She had colleges and things. And she used to shout 24/7. I would just
where
be
did you
like,
get
what's
it?
going on,
Where
guys?
did you get
Why are
it?
you not doing it? And then one day she just said to me, you know what, Jordan? I'm actually lucky. And so what are you saying? She goes, I'm not shouting though. I'm like, what happened, Mom? She said, she just realized that you're lucky that you're not them. No, not in a bad way.
No, I get
Because
it.
the thing is, if you couldn't see it, because you have to teach. You're in a position that you're being blessed to teach. Because if you could be on the other side, you understand that it's not that easy. Because they can't see that. So teaching is a big thing Africa needs. Because we were talking about how Africa can unite together. I think teaching is another big thing that Africa needs.
It's the upskilling, and as you upskill, you actually empower not that one person, that entire family, that family, that community, that industry, the economy of the entire country. It's got such a beautiful ripple effect.
100%. Now let's talk about investment, brands.
Yeah.
Brands is something that I'm very keen on from a long time. We work with loads of brands, and you work with loads of brands too. And a lot of brands are actually looking for voices. They're looking for voices to market their brand. They're looking for voices to show up, you know, in terms of, you know, events and much more. South Africa is a place where you guys know how to do TV commercial here. Ooh. The TV commercial industry here is top form. I don't think they know how good they are.
Kiss.
Now, when it comes to brands,
we know how good we are.
Oh, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Fair enough. When it comes to brands, right? How do you feel that your relationship with brands is today, and how do you feel brands could be more open to work with you and your production company because you are on the ground, you're speaking to people, because a brand manager for a big company, I don't want to mention any name, it's not connecting with Joe public.
And they can't, right? They have to be in the office.
Exactly. And you know how to, right? So what do you think is important about your message, your value that you can offer, that brands should listen to and say, hey, you know what, we should be working with Kim?
I mean, to answer the first part of your question, what is my relationship with brands currently? Amazing.
Good.
I've been someone that's I've managed myself for the last 6-7 years. Contracts, invoicing, all communication, one man. Yeah. Right? I think because of that, you develop an amazing relationship with specific brands that continuously work with you, which is why I've been in the industry for over a decade, right? Yeah. Consistently being professional, delivering, actually over-delivering, because I believe in always, right? I think now, because so many global brands recognize the talent in Africa, they're relying on a lot of agencies. Yes. Which is a good thing and a bad thing. So it's great in that the agencies can do the work that the brands can't, right? They're in the office, they need to be in a million meetings about this campaign and this deadline, and they pass it over to the agency who they trust, has their finger on the pulse of who's hot and who makes sense. Where it can be a negative downfall is that agencies do have favorites. Yes, right? Which means in our industry, there's a small circle of people consistently working, and it doesn't allow for fresh talent to be able to break in.
How do you think that can change? Because that is a global issue. Loads of amazing agencies we work with. We are an agency ourselves. We work with loads of brands. We work with loads of talent as well. And then what happens is, you are right. You do have favorites because it's less heavy.
Exactly. The contract, bank details, done.
But what do you think needs to happen? Because the thing is, we're looking into the future. And we're looking to change. Right. So we have to be the change we want to see in the world. So what do you think should happen, especially with production companies like yourself, doing a lot of massive work with agencies and work with brands? What do you think should happen? Should happen to have a fair playing
I mean, unfortunately, as the creator, the responsibility really relies on you.
Yeah.
You actually have to create content that helps you cut through the noise. You actually have to create music that makes you cut through the noise.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, nowadays, artists can't just go drop a track and hope it does well. You are very responsible for the growth of your brand. I'm saying all of these incredible platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, you can directly speak to your audience and promote your music. There's no more gatekeeping. So if you are not actively pushing your brand, consistently creating amazing content, high level content, engaging with your audience, building a strong fan base that like and engage with everything you do, how can you expect brands and agencies to reach out to you?
I love that.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. It's a team effort.
Kim, we'll do something on this show called Top 5.
Okay.
Can we have a drink? Can we have a cheers for the Top 5?
Okay,
Yeah? All right?
cheers to Top 5.
Cheers to Top 5. It's all right. Now in Top 5, we want to find out the person behind the music, the person behind the brand, the person behind the production company, the person behind the influencer. We're going to be talking, if you're a doctor, we can talk about medicine all day. But who is Kim, right? And the little things, the personalities that people can find out behind, right? So I'm going to start with your Top 5 best films of all time.
This really is going to show exactly who I am.
Well, that's exactly what we're doing that game.
Okay, The Notebook, Eat, Pray, Love, Forrest Gump.
The Notebook, okay.
Yeah, Forrest Gump is a classic. Two more that I could watch over and over. I just watched Sinners.
Oh, yeah,
I have to add it to my top 10 of all time. But mostly because Ryan Coogler is fantastic.
Ryan is
He is a brilliant
talented.
mind. He's the director of our generation, in my opinion.
Yes.
I think Black Panther, as corny as it
That's
sounds,
not a Ryan film,
it was the first time we as people of color saw ourselves as superheroes.
I hear you.
Like,
do you know what?
it was so
I thought you were going to say Coming to America. And I'm surprised there. You don't like Coming to America? It's lovely.
I mean, shout out. Amazing.
That's cool. All right. Top 5 best artists of all time. When I'm talking about this generation, all time. Are you going all time?
Okay. Grew up on Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yeah.
Shout out to my dad.
So school.
Prince.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to put Burna Boy right up there.
Of course, Burna Boy.
Oof. African giant, icon. I really want to give props to Super Mega, aka what he did for our country, putting hip hop on the map. You know, as controversial as a character he was, an icon. Who do I listen to a lot? Currently, Adele. I think Adele's a great one.
Okay.
Yeah, I love a good cry.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so top 5 best countries to visit of all time.
Love this. Okay, you gotta go to Zimbabwe. First come to Zim. We'll show you proper African hospitality and great food and sadza and a good braai. Okay, so definitely Zimbabwe. Obviously, I'm an advocate for South Africa.
Of course.
We have everything here. Ocean, mountains, desert, and amazing people, great food, the club vibe, the fashion, darling. I mean, I haven't seen the entire of America, but New York is my favorite city on earth.
Okay.
I'm a massive New York advocate. It's such a melting pot of cultures, and it's you gotta go to New York before you die. Maldives was amazing.
Maldives is sick.
Maldives is amazing. I lived my Eat, Pray, Love in Maldives.
Yeah,
I was I went there after a breakup, and I was just alone on an island.
It was beautiful.
Maldives.
This happened to me in Mauritius.
Yeah.
I used to go to Maldives every year.
Yeah.
But I never knew that there was Maldives outside of Maldives.
Yeah.
Because you go to a resort.
Yes.
And everything is there.
Yes.
But there is a Maldives outside.
So there's a city. So it's they hate tourists. They're we're not going to the island.
So Maldives in the resort is great. Yeah. It's a country in itself. Yeah.
So good. UK is amazing. Why can't we say UK?
I don't say you should say UK.
Oh, yeah,
I say you gotta
UK's
say UK. I'm here. You say
Shout
UK.
out.
There you
Shout
go.
out.
top 5 songs that when you hear, it just takes you back. You know those kind of songs when when you can be walking, you can be having a conversation with somebody, and you hear the song, you're like, wait, there's something. You're like, wait, that conversation was good, but
okay. I don't know of all time, but I can give you like off the top of my head. September, Earth, Wind and Fire.
Right.
Do you remember? Hey,
classic.
September, so good. Because I'm talking about AKA Josie. Yo, Run Josie, big banger. I'm gonna put you on. I'm actually gonna send you a playlist.
You're gonna put me on this.
It's gonna be a vibe.
You see me just going,
But it's okay. It's okay.
You guys in comments, not like that. I will find. I don't know everything. You see, you gotta learn every day.
You gotta learn, but that's why we collaborate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Collaborate on playlists as well.
Me that thing. I'm saying some UK stuff too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, some Skip. I'm big on Skip. What a big vibe.
Cool, good.
Hey, Skip is a big vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know about his collaborations with some brands.
It's just like I know, but you know what I mean. Leave him alone. He's a good friend of mine. Leave him alone.
Okay.
He's a good guy. Sorry, Kim. It's not like that. Not like that. Go on.
It's so hard to think of names of specific songs. I'll come back to you.
Yeah, you come back to me on that one. All right. So finally, top 5 people that it doesn't matter if they're alive, people that when you hear about, when you speak about, when you read about, it like inspires you, right? Not just your random artists and everything else, but people that they have an impact, they have had an impact, and they still have an impact in your life.
It can be someone famous or non-famous.
Yeah, it could be an old star. It could be
my grandmother.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. So my grandmother, Amelia van Beek, she was, and I only found this out after she passed away, which is so sad. She was one of the first people in our town, in our community, to create a farm that allowed for employment of people in interracial marriages.
Wow.
And couples. So
in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, in Bulawayo.
Wow.
So she married a white British soldier.
Why?
And she was obviously a woman of color.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was very similar to how South Africa is. It was frowned upon for people of different races to marry and have children.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And there were communities. Black people live here, white people live here, and then the mixed people live here. And they bought a farm and they employed people and invited children. I think that was super beautiful. I mean, if I could have dinner with her again, I would. Someone I'm consistently inspired by, Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah.
I mean, from everything as a woman, she has overcome. She's a survivor of sexual abuse her entire childhood.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Kim Jayde, and I am beyond humbled and honored to be your cover girl for Republic Africa. I think it's massive that they are celebrating so many iconic African figures and empowering and uplifting the continent as a whole. So make sure you tune into the conversation. Make sure you buy the cover.
Welcome back to VooVix TV, and I hope you enjoy the ads, because you know what, I love the ads. You know why the ads do? The ads do feed the family. You need ads. You need ads sometimes. That was a good break. Now, before the break, we were actually having a deep conversation, and one of the questions I asked you was top 5 people who've inspired you, who've had a difference in your life and made a change in your life. And you were talking about your gran, right? And this is very important, right? And you said you wish you'd had a face-to-face and find out a lot of things that she did. Especially in terms of multiculturalism, which now everyone takes for granted. Back in the day, it was a huge problem. I remember Trevor Nelson doing Trevor Noah. We have Trevor Nelson in London, not you, Trevor. Trevor Noah actually doing a comedy skit. He said, he used to think that he was a bag of weed, walking down the street, because at the time his mom wasn't allowed to be seen walking with him. And you said the kind of things that were going on here in South Africa was the same things going on with Zim, and what she did was quite groundbreaking. So do you want to expand a little bit about that as well? I
mean, there definitely was segregation, racial segregation in Zimbabwe as well. Back when it was Rhodesia, before we were liberated. As I said, we were colonized by the British, so that really was set in place. So yeah, I mean, obviously Africa has advanced a lot. Our country has grown and developed, and so I would rather not dwell on that. We always recognize the past and we learn from the mistakes of that, but I guess, to focus on the future and how amazing the country is doing as a united rainbow nation now. So I said my gran, and then I said Oprah, icon, and then I started to speak about Eva Longoria, who I relate to a lot, because I think the truth of the matter is, and we can't not acknowledge, as a woman, when you have pretty privilege, people assume it opens a lot of doors.
Yeah,
and it absolutely,
by the way.
oh yeah, pretty privilege is a real thing.
For real?
Pretty privilege is a real thing.
For real?
Yeah, man. You know, there's like white skin privilege, there's like pretty privilege. Pretty privilege.
Jesus,
welcome to my masterclass. So pretty privilege is that assumption that because you are beautiful, you get opportunities over other people,
and you
simply
can say
based
so
off what you look like.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I was a professional model. It was literally my job.
It's literally there.
Literally was my job. But I'm saying, in the same breath, yes, it will open certain doors, but at the same time, because you look a certain way, they assume you're uneducated, that you are not professional, that you don't know anything about business. Oh, you're just pretty. Eva Longoria is one of those women that's proven from Desperate Housewives, where she was, you know, obviously a sexual goddess, icon, beautiful. She's gone on to do so much more. She has her own production company, she directs, and she uses her platform to also raise awareness about the Spanish community and her culture. And so that's a woman I really look to as an incredible role model.
Amazing. Oprah Winfrey, Eva. And if you were to star in a film with Eva,
I'd cry.
no, because it leads quite nicely with Law of Attraction. If you were going to start with a film with Eva, what would you like the film to be like? And do you believe that what you attract or what you say can actually happen if you actually put your mind to it?
Oh, the power of the spoken word.
Yeah.
So many people are so afraid to say an idea.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, everyone around me is going to judge me and tell me I'm insane. That will never work. That will never happen. But it's like, actually, if you just say it, you will see how the universe finds a way to make that happen for you. And then it's up to you to actually step through the door and do it. If I was to star in a movie with Eva Longoria, I would just be her sister, and we would cook together and we would travel and I don't know. I think what could be really interesting and beautiful is her showing me her culture and me showing her mine.
Can you imagine if that happens?
Like in Africa.
That'd be courtesy of VooVix TV. It would be like Spanish Museum.
Make it happen.
So every time we interview people, we've interviewed loads of guests, from Mark Cuban to loads of different people, to Kim. We interviewed this girl called Kim Jayde, right? It's an amazing girl. Every time we interview people, we ask that question: what is your relationship with God like? Right? Do you have a relationship with God? Do you believe that God is one of the epicenters of what you've achieved in life? What would you say your relationship with God is like?
100%. I think what's so sad is that often people find him at their lowest.
Yeah.
And that's probably the same for me. I recommitted my life to God middle of last year. And it's what got me through probably the hardest time in my life. And what's so amazing and
what was the hardest time? What happened?
Just professionally and personally, I went through like a crazy like roller coaster, and when I do interviews and even on my social media, you'll see I don't share a lot about my personal life, because when people talk about me, I want them to be like, yo, she's doing this amazing project. Did you see she hired this person? She's traveled. There's enough negativity out there. Y'all don't need to know about my breakup. We're good. We move on. Giving my life to God not only healed me and humbled me, but made my life so much bigger than I ever imagined. Because as an individual, you can do crazy things in your career. But with God's favor, unimaginable mountains will move.
Yes.
I mean, I went from being in corporate for 3 years, being basically off the grid really in entertainment, to deciding, cool, in June I was like, going back into entertainment, I'm going back to being a full-time creative. I'm like, now I'm in a globally published Barbie book. Then Forbes is inviting me to Cincinnati, Ohio for a summit. Then I'm in New York with so-and-so, LA with so-and-so. Like, I'm in London at the premiere of Sinners, walking the red carpet, same as Michael B. Jordan.
Amazing.
In the space of 6 months, that's all God.
Yes.
So when you ask me my relationship with him, that's how I start my day, is by daily devotionals, learning a message from the Bible, and I end my day with gratitude. And I name it. It's so important to name everything you're thankful for. And even if you had a terrible day, it's like, God, I opened my eyes today. I have a roof over my head. I ate. I spoke to my dad on the phone. We had such a good laugh. I landed this amazing campaign. I was on a call with Jordan and he said he wants me for this interview and now all the people in Africa are going to see me. And it's just like,
come on.
Name them.
Yeah.
Name everything you're thankful for.
Yes.
Because so often we're so quick to name the problems.
Yeah. You know,
This
I love
went
that.
wrong. This went wrong. This went wrong.
I love that. I remember I was having a morning devotion with our team and I was talking about a miracle diary. I introduced the idea of having a miracles diary where you kind of list the things that you are thankful for.
Yes.
Because if you don't list the things you're thankful for, when you're down, you don't know where to go to. There's a song called Count Your Blessings. You name them one by one. You go and actually count the blessings and say, actually, you know what? I'm blessed. Like, there's so much good things that are happening.
Yes.
You know, that's an amazing, amazing feat. Now, if you were to be asked about 5 years from now, and someone says to you, hey, you know, Kim, you've done so much success in the world, what would you like your legacy to be?
I love that. I also ask this question a lot on my shows. I want my legacy to be that she was a proudly African woman that represented her country and her continent with pride and opened the doors for so many young, talented people. Like, that's my dream.
Kim Jayde, ladies and gentlemen, come on, give it up for Kim Jayde. Kim, come on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being part of the show. Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Kim Jayde right here on VooVix TV. Don't forget to stay tuned, VooVixTV.com, powered by Republic Africa. And Kim will be on the front cover of Republic Africa. There's going to be 3 covers coming out in June. You've got Ibrahim Touré representing politics, doing so much work there in politics. And you're going to be Aliko Dangote, which he's the richest billionaire across Africa with Dangote Enterprises. And in entertainment, you've got Kim Jayde here. So triple front cover. So until next time, look after yourselves and each other.
If you